Welcome to Live on KEXP at Home. I'm Cheryl Waters, and I host the midday show on KEXP. You can find us at kexp.org, streaming worldwide. And I'm so excited to have Dylan Cartlidge joining me today. Hi, Dylan.
Hello, Cheryl. Pleasure to see you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you. I have so been enjoying the songs that I've been hearing, and I'm excited to talk to you and share your music with our listeners today. Where are you right now?
So I'm currently in part of the UK in the northeast, a town called Redcar, which is just the nearest place that I imagine people may know is Newcastle upon Tyne.
It looks like you've been doing a lot of fun promotional stuff online. I've caught a little bit of it, lots of interviews, lots of streaming performances. You did a little Instagram takeover. It just looks like a fun, good time. It seems like you really enjoy talking to all these various people.
Obviously it's a crazy time right now, and I would love to be physically out and seeing everybody and coming over to the station. But it's an absolute blessing that that we can talk virtually here, and that I still get to be able to see and talk to people.
What's one of the most fun things that you've done? Have you done anything kind of zany?
This whole when I've been doing these kind of online interviews, particularly with radio, it's all one of my things is I'm a rapper first and foremost, so I do freestyling. So it's been really interesting for me. It's just something that I used to do, in college with my friends in basements, and now I've been doing it over Zoom links with radio hosts and executives. It's been really fun to just get to the end of a call and then just freestyle about the whole call and everybody involved, and it was really cool.
I know you're on all the different social media platforms. Do you like to connect with your fans? Do you do that? Do you talk directly to them and see what they've been up to?
Yeah, 100%. For me, my whole thing is hope above adversity. It's the motto I kind of live by in my music. It's massively entangled in that, and so for me, I got into music through, having listened to artists like Kid Cudi and really learning that music can be so much more than an MP3, because I'm an introvert like yourself. And so for me, it's very important to do my best to, if, anybody needed to look after the listener and to try and offer something that's personal.
Well, you just released the Yellow Brick Road EP a couple of weeks ago, and let's listen to a couple of songs. It's Dylan Cartlidge live on KEXP at Home.
Nice to meet you, please take me to your leader. There was no advice on how to ride the side of social media. I used to think the future was orange and slightly metered, until the day I found crazy homogeneously featured. So hold that hand back, integrating old jack, sitting at the bottom of the bottle where the soul's at. Press the control dash, remove the fuel cap, set the coordinates to destination. Who's that? Dropping hints, I lock the prince before a clone can start commence. Teens and all this evolution, there's a loss of common sense. Make America great again, the acceleration rate is in. Wonder if we're so convinced, how far can we take it then? Higher, 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 higher. Gotta take them higher, like higher, 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 higher. Watch me take them higher, like hints were dropping, existential questions popping. Now it's feeling close to seeing simulation is an option. The old me was a semaphore, feeling like forevermore. If this just a dream, or am I reaching what I never could? Radiation which is coming by the sheer load, embedded in the MP3 that's dripping from your earlobe. Ain't a place to go when knowledge ain't around. Looking at where I was before and looking at me now. So stop it, comparing with the science of a rocket. Life is emphatic and it's time to go higher, 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 higher. Gotta take them higher, like higher, 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 higher. Watch me take them higher, like higher, 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 higher. Watch me take them higher, like higher, 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 higher. Watch me take them higher, like our direction isn't all to be seen. Said an essential is essential in the order of things, yeah. Our direction isn't all to be seen. Setting essential is essential in the order of things. Life is a key, there's a map. Tell me, are we working back or forward? Is this chorus something that we try to take it back? Is a key, there's a map. Tell me, are we working back or forward? Is this chorus something that we're trying to hold us back? See, now I think today is gonna be one of those days where I don't miss my alarm and no drama is in the way. Cause I've been crossing fingers, toes alive with my lips like frozen tide, adamantly refusing to curse a day ahead of time. Previously I've been known to take a tone and forget that tomorrow's just another day and it ain't happened yet. So I'm gonna turn my keys and find out that doubt signaling running my mouth make me not wanna leave the house. See, this time I just can smile and bounce out. Yeah, oh believe me, we don't need no reason. Oh wow, to shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. And we're in a riding season, shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we get down, shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we're in a riding season, shake it like a cheerleader. See, a valuable lesson is something you want to invest in with no earlier influence and no prior suggestion. See, now poses my next question, yo, you believe in jesting? I can speak a giant heat when Sarukta's pressing, yo. Close my eyes and there it is, stood atop the pyramid. Worries in these fears in the jar, still without the lid. They receive no sip from me, cause all of this is new, you see. Since letting those is some bullshit along the road of what used to be. Yeah, oh believe me, we don't need no reason. Oh wow, to shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we're in a riding season, like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we get down, shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we're in a riding season, like a cheerleader. Shake what your mama gave you, girl. Said what your mama gave you, girl. All those flags and signs that I wore never gave me scope on who the root for. Yeah, you got game inside of your drawer and we're all keeping score. Oh yeah, oh believe me, we don't need no reason. Oh wow, to shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we're in a riding season, like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we get down, shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we're in a riding season, like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we get down, shake it like a cheerleader. Oh wow, believe me, we don't need no reason. When we're in a riding season, like a cheerleader. Oh wow.
That's Dylan Cartlidge live on KEXP at home. And that first song, Higher, comes from your EP last year, Monsters Under the Bed. And then that song there, Cheerleader, brand new from the Yellow Brick Road EP. And that was awesome. I want to thank all of our viewers who are watching today. Jonty called you a lyrical maestro.
Thank you. I don't know about that, but thank you.
Dylan, you said that rapping is your first love, and I know you started rapping at age 13 from reading some of your interviews. And tell me a little bit about that. What was music like for you growing up?
So for me, I got into music very much through necessity. I was a big music fan, but I exclusively listened to rap and pop music, anything that, remotely had live instrumentation. And I was like, oh, no, that's for the metalheads. It wasn't for me. I was so close-minded. Really, I had a little bit of a turbulent childhood, and I got to a point where, it was either... do I, let things kind of, let my situation kind of define me, or, kind of like go down one path or go down another? And, it was artists like Kid Cudi, like I was saying earlier, that, for the first time I was seeing, it felt like for the first time I was seeing rappers on the radio who were talking about, their, depression or, whatever it may be. It wasn't just about being in the club or whatever. And, it made me feel it just made me feel like for the first time music felt like it was more than just an MP3, and it can touch people, and if people need to get something from it, they can. And so from that, that point onwards, I've decided, it very much became a part of my emotional regulation and who I am as a person. And I'm just trying to, kind of give back what I've gotten from music, and if people want to take something from it, then cool. If people just want to listen and, and shake their booty, they can do that also.
I love that you weren't interested at all in music with instruments when you were younger. I've actually never heard anyone say that. And your current sound is so unique. It's a mix of the hip hop that you've loved so much since you were a child with soul and rock. When did you start experimenting with that sound? And Tony commented, one of our viewers, it is not easy to sing and play bass at the same time. And you do that really well.
Yeah, definitely. Singing and playing bass is something that it didn't come naturally. And the same with rapping and playing the bass. I think I looked at people like Anderson .Paak. I was really like Royal Blood as well. Mike Kerr, big fan of him. From Royal Blood. I'm also a massive fan of Les Claypool and the way that he plays bass. It's just fantastic. And so when I said Anderson .Paak rapping and playing the drums, obviously I thought bring a bit of with a little bit of Jack White in. But to answer your question about when did the live instrumentation come into it, I'll tell you the culprits. So I basically I met two dudes in college. I went to college. I was starting out just rapping in my profile. And I met these two dudes. They were like, these two brothers from Cyprus who were like from that whole school of like playing of like, Jimi Hendrix, John Frusciante, that super improvisational kind of vibe. And they had leather jackets and Chelsea boots, and they showed me the White Stripes and the Black Keys, and we formed a band, and I kind of never looked back since. And so I've just had my horizons broadened, and I'm a massive fan of so much music now, particularly a lot of garage rock and stuff. And I love bands like The Strokes, Casey Elephant, White Stripes, the Black Keys, just really all of that stuff.
And have you taught yourself to play a variety of instruments? What do you play?
So the way I kind of broach it is, so like I said, I'm a rapper first and foremost, but I kind of say I do my best impression of a bass player, I do my best impression of a keys player. I would never say I'm like a bass player, keys player. A part of my whole thing and part of my whole sound is I'm on the very edge of not knowing what I'm doing completely, and that's where I like to be. So I kind of play, and I kind of play all my own instruments, and hopefully trying to go for a little bit of that, the White Stripes, implementing a little bit of like, a little bit of limitations, and giving it a bit of like a unique sound in that way. And I basically just, run around and make. I would describe it. I'm a bit of a kooky black guy that makes funk music, and I spend a lot of my time just making random noises and doing a lot of things that people would be like, "Yo, what's this guy doing?" And that's basically what I do.
Sounds a little bit like riding a roller coaster, a little bit terrifying and really exhilarating at the same time.
100%. I come from that school of thought and that whole time, early 2000s as well, late 90s, when rappers couldn't sing but weren't afraid to sing, like Biz Markie, you got what I need. Like that's my vibe. Like I love artists like Andre 3000 and Jack White, and I kind of feel like the way that they use their voice and the way that they use their sound is from a real place of just experimenting with their own creativity and just making noises and sounds that replicate how they feel.
I love that people are discovering new artists every single day in this landscape. In fact, we have a listener who's listening and watching today from Querétaro, Mexico, which is great. That's where my parents live, but says that they're hearing you for the first time today, and you must just be gaining new fans every single day with the way your music is just hitting so many different outlets right now and getting into the ears of so many people. What has that felt like?
Amazing. To be honest, it is, hello everybody who's, seeing or hearing the music for the first time. It's really cool because, I think it's when you first start out, when you do this, you're never quite sure how it's going to go. And I think, it can always be one of those things as well where you put your music out there. For some people it's very personal, for some people it isn't. But I think there's always like a growth and a discovery. And for me, the really interesting thing is that I kind of feel like, I'm very interested to see how, different people feel and different people react to it. And for me, if, some person has listened to it today and they've gotten something from it, or, it's put a smile on somebody's face, then, I'm happy with that.
It sounds like improvisation and spontaneity is a big part of your process. I read that you went into the studio to record Yellow Brick Road and Cheerleader with not much prepared. Tell me a little bit about that and what that whole process in the studio was like. And was that your first time in a fancy studio? Because you have a couple of EPs.
I've got a couple of EPs, and it is, my improvisation is the cornerstone of everything I do, and I feel like that's something that I like to use it as something that feels quite unique to me in the sense of it's something and that's why I broach myself as a rapper, because fundamentally I am, and in rap and in hip hop, a massive part of it is improvisation. I kind of like freestyling is a massive part of what I do, and it's really that mentality and that that hip hop culture that I've kind of hopefully introduced into live instrumentation and the recording kind of process. So I go into every song, every studio with nothing prepared, and I see how we feel on the day. And luckily, because I've gotten good at improvising with my rapping over the years, that I've just been able to translate that to melodies and ideas and those kind of things, and just really make a sporadic kind of song in the moment.
Describe what that was like, though, in the studio. I can't imagine that you might have felt a little bit of pressure, because here you are at this, fancy studio working with a producer of renown, and you didn't come in with, a demo or something to lay down. I mean, did you have a lot of confidence in your improvisational skills and you knew you'd come up with something great? Or was there a thought maybe in your head like, wow, we might spend like a whole day on this and I don't know if I'll hit it?
This is a thing for me. Like, when we talk about it on a musical level, like that's what it is. So on the day I went into the first studio session, it was a big studio session, a big fancy studio for the first time. I was working with a producer who'd worked on a massive projects like Gorillaz, Demon Days, and these kind of things, and it was so daunting. And I remember, I think I took the day off work. I was working in a bar at the time, and so I took the day off work to go and do this session. And for me, this is the thing, because the way in which I've got into music and how music is, I guess now just part of my natural emotional regulation as a person, that it was really about going into that studio session, not necessarily what am I going to do, what am I going to improvise. It was very much, I need all those feelings. It was a massive dreams versus expectations. It was like, how is this going to go, what's going to happen, and all the things. Is this the start of something, is this the end of something? And it was very much like, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to leave nothing to chance. I'm going to give it my all. I want to crawl out that studio covered in sweat when I'm finished, and I just want to encapsulate how this feels. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what noise that makes. I don't know how that sounds, but I'm going to try my best to encapsulate how that feels.
Was that the first time that you had worked with a producer?
Yes, in a studio like that. I had worked with a producer locally that I'd taken a few demos to, and we tried a few things, but nothing on that level before.
I ask because it makes me wonder, with the improvisational way that you came in and you freestyle, what did the producer sort of give you to inspire you, or what kind of input did the producer have?
So it was really just I was very it was just the right thing for me, because I tend to work the best in where there's the studio that I worked in. The best way I could describe it is the producer I worked with was like a musical hermit crab. It was like from wall to wall there was just instruments and synthesizers and vintage gear just on and ready to go. And so it was very much like we went into the room, we press record, and then I was jumping from thing to thing to thing. And I'm very kind of, when it's improvisational, it is very much like that. It's jumping from thing to thing to thing, recording, this idea, that idea. And then it was really just saying, oh, that's cool, but let's work on this for now, or maybe try something else there. And it was really just a guided way of running with that spontaneity, trying to add a little bit of control to that chaos.
Well, let's listen to some of those songs. Right now we have Summertime and Yellow Brick Road coming up. It's Dylan Cartlidge live on KEXP at home.
KEXP, yo, what China yesterday, brand new way to procrastinate, same old Ridley Scott masterpiece, my parents must be proud of me, remember those things I should do, for Red Dragon yes and no, it was a nice supposed to move, silence to the lines, here we go, yeah I can't afford to change, I'll take a look just not today, car in play, just watch the pain, from outside sunshine the feeling great, one time for the pizza man, filled like shots on the picture gun. Die tomorrow, that's the plan. Music to the ears of the listen, man. It's like in the summertime, we'll be happy and laughing in the summertime. Cause in the summertime, it tastes so sweet in the summertime. La 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 la. But in the summertime, la 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 la. It tastes so sweet in the summertime. Times in life I regret where I really am. Context, think about what I really want. If I decide I might leave the best of all ways to get what I need, but I just checked my bank account. Guess who became rich today? Maybe you and I just here find value in a different way. Penelope Cruz has got me hella confused. I guess it's time to fly vanilla sky. Where will we go to? And now by time to report the news, 45% off for the sailor boots. While stocks last holidays for two. Shop window, better make a move. It's like in the summertime, we'll be happy and laughing in the summertime. Cause in the summertime, it tastes so sweet in the summertime. In the summertime, we'll be happy and laughing in the summertime. Cause in the summertime, it tastes so sweet in the summertime. We'll be happy and laughing in the summertime. Cause in the summertime, it tastes so sweet in the summertime. Ooh, 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 Yo, thank you for having me, KEXP. Your boy Dylan Cartlidge. Let's get it. Yellow Brick Road. I say good morning, I need to feed your soul. Morning, I need to let you go. All set and ready for the big world. Any kind of visuals never really did go. Yes, through the day they move. Any kind of story they just play, they grew. Yeah, are we gonna throw back? So you better think twice if you wanna talk church now. Action packed and live when you're ready for. Maybe it was just yesterday that we had it all. Now it's gone and everybody's moved. Gotta face up to you and look at the truth now. They say to make change that you can't just sit around and look that way. Cause they'll say, I'll see. Petals in your necklace got me so in the zone. I'm feeling high, you trip through while you baby sound the alarm. Hey, better stop them now shows and carry on the low. Cause you got me burning down this yellow brick road. Oh, hide your soul is better than before. Rabbit forward like you would picture him at the store. No real vision for where you were heading for. Face it, we ain't got this far. How could you frown and let them all be the only ones to teach? Stop motion, everybody's ghosting on who loads the most, so better get roasting. Woo, don't bet I can't see when the prize is often lives and make them all bleed, yeah. Better to like than fear, you know you got the best to see. Don't you stop and blame them, you're also in you did. Ooh, they they say to make change, that you can't just sit round and loot that way. Cause they'll say, I'll say, petals in your necklace got me so in the zone. I'm feeling higher, trip the wire, baby, sound me along. Hey, better stop them now shows and carry on hello. Cause you got me running round this yellow brick road. Hey, the second that we laid eyes out, the heart skip a beat exactly at the same time. I just went with it, rolling on the next one. Everybody told me that I shouldn't really flexing, but then I tried to keep it cool on the low. Everybody kept telling me that it wouldn't show. Then we found where we were waiting before we went. Everybody can get it even if they didn't get the petals in your necklace got me so in the zone. I'm feeling higher, trip the wire, baby, sound me along. Hey, better stop the now show and carry on hello. Cause you got me running round this yellow brick road. KEXP.
That is so awesome. Dylan Cartlidge live on KEXP at home. That is definitely my summer jam right now. Yellow Brick Road from the new EP from Dylan Cartlidge. The listeners are loving it. Eddie said, honestly, after such a challenging year, this is exactly the kind of song I need in my life. Adding this to my playlist right now. I have that on my Spotify playlist right now. And one of our listeners says, my 13-year-old daughter is loving this, getting ready for school. And Holly reminds us, if you haven't seen the music video for this, you absolutely need to check it out. Tell me about making that video.
First of all, thank you very much, Eddie. I hope you had a great year. Also, I hope your daughter has a great day at school. That video and making that video, it was something that luckily we were already going to do an animated video because we felt like something really creative and fun, really spoke, about the experience in the song. I managed to work with an animator, really talented animator, throughout the lockdown period, and we managed to come up with a video that we felt reflected the song. It was crazy. There's this scene where I'm riding on a peacock and everything's trippy, and it's kind of like a little window inside my head.
Your music is embedded with so much hope, both in the lyrics and the sound, and it just really brings a ray of light into a dark time for some people right now. Are you intentionally trying to create songs that uplift people?
I would definitely say so. Obviously, I don't want to be, I don't want to be overly preachy, or I don't want to come across as a little bit too on the nose. For me, I'm a strong believer in hope above adversity. I'm somebody who's been able to, overcome the odds in a lot of ways to be where I am today, and to not be another kind of a statistic, or a lot of people that I know who've been in similar situations weren't as fortunate, and I live by that every day and hope to infuse just a little bit of rays of sunshine into those songs. But like I say, equally, if people just want to listen and have a groove, they can. But if people need to hear a little bit of positivity, that's in there also.
I know that you are very connected to your hometown, and I saw a portion of that BBC Two documentary, The Mighty Red Car, and their first episode featured you and your musical journey, and also featured your hometown. Tell me a little bit about that, or share that with our listeners who might not be familiar with that documentary.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to be part of a documentary, a BBC documentary that was filmed 2 years ago now, and it was filmed in the town that I'm from. So a little bit of background: the town that I'm from anybody that doesn't know, the best way to describe it is it's a town that's been in the wake of like a big industry closure, but it's a little seaside town. It's kind of like a bit of like a Detroit. Obviously, Detroit's really big, but like a small version of Detroit where it's kind of mothballed and the industry's closed, and basically the BBC came and did a documentary that followed young people in the area, and tried to really show what what was on the next page for the people of this town, especially the young people, in context of what was happening. What do people aspire to do? Are people staying around? Do people have hopes? Do people have dreams in this, in the context of what's happening? And I got to be a part of that. Luckily, I was, like I said, I was working in a bar at the time. And they managed to record everything from just really serendipitously record everything from me working in the bar to signing my first publishing deal and doing this full time. And it was just a really hopeful documentary and a really unique insight into how coming of age a little bit, and how people, how young people hope for their futures and growing up and all those different stories, some good, some bad, but that's life.
You've done quite a bit of touring over the last couple of years and seen some great success with your music. I know you've played some big festivals like Reading and Leeds and The Great Escape, and you came over to Austin for South by Southwest last year. What's been the response from your hometown to your growing success?
It's been really cool. So, for the first time ever, I think myself and another band called Avalanche Party were really cool from my area. We're the first people, I think, ever to come out and play South by Southwest. I got to play Glastonbury in the same year as South by Southwest, which was crazy. And so it's just really been one of those things. I think most people will know if you are from a small town or, whatever, it's kind of like there isn't a lot of opportunities or, there's not a lot of money flying around, but everybody loves to see somebody do well. Everybody loves an underdog story,
Are you the guy that gets recognized all over town now? Hey, Dylan. Hey.
Much more than I used to, I would say. But people used to say that anyway. There isn't many giant black guys walking around with afros where I'm from, in a small town in the northeast. So I was already a bit of a figure and a character anyway. So it's good for the people also then know that this is happening with the music, and it's definitely recognizable.
Speaking of all those shows and festivals that you were playing, do you enjoy being up in front of a live audience? Do you feel comfortable on stage?
I think it's one of those things for me. Like being on stage is something that in my own life anyway, I could be quite anxious. I have a PTSD, and that sometimes can bring about a lot of anxiety and stuff like that. And so the stage is one of the places where I really feel like I can really be myself and just really really overcome those things. Although it is very nerve-wracking, it's always a great relief for me to be on stage and to share that.
Well, it sounds like music is pretty instrumental in helping you process your emotions. I mean, you've talked about that a little bit today, but it really seems like a big part of it for you.
I would say so. It's something that is just naturally through how I've come into music and how I've experienced music. It's naturally become, part of how I kind of regulate myself. And it's also lucky enough to be something that I do for a living.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy that you do. You have multiple EPs out now. Do you prefer that shorter format, or are you working on something longer? Are you able to write songs right now? Is this a good, time for you? This time where we're staying at home?
I think so I do like I've always liked I liked EPs, like for me being a rapper, it's very much like mixtapes and stuff. I am working towards a record. I think luckily when it came about, when lockdown came about, and obviously the world changed into a crazy place in that time, but I was just at the period that I had the opportunity to go out to LA in February and do some writing, and then it was very much the plan was anyway is to come back home and bring all the files back to the studio here and to just really work all these demos and all these bits I worked on for the last couple of years and turn that into a cohesive number of projects or a record. And so luckily I managed to get a lot of that writing and stuff done. I'm still writing at home now. I will be releasing another EP later in the year, hopefully with a view to a record next year.
That's great. What else besides doing all these interviews and promotion and working on songs have you been doing during this lockdown time?
Apart from all the, the music shenanigans, in my downtime, I'm obsessed with horror films. I'm crazy about horror films. I've seen like over 1,000, and I've just been spending time with my family, of course, and just trying not to go stir crazy in this new Corona world.
Yeah. Well, we hope that you'll come visit us soon. We'd love to see you in Seattle, but we're so grateful to be able to share your music and talk with you to our listeners worldwide. You said during an interview that I read that dropping music during the pandemic might be an opportune time for an up-and-coming artist like you to do so. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
For me, it's one of those things as an up and coming artist, people know that sometimes, you can like for me, for example, I could be, ready to drop a new single or do a tour or anything. And then, tomorrow Kanye West might announce that he's dropping an album. He might just tell the world, here's an album. And you know what, say goodbye to any, playlisting or any, hype or anything that you might have generated. And so obviously in this time, a lot of big artists will be planning really, integral tour plans and stuff around releases. And so, a lot of big artists have pushed those things back. And so, I think that's really, in a lot of ways, at least for, up and coming artists, is been maybe opportunistic and opened up a potential slot to, not have something big come in when you release something.
Well, I love hearing that. It's really been a positive experience for you. And the Yellow Brick Road EP is something I can't stop playing right now. And it has been so great talking with you today. Thanks so much for taking the time to make those songs for us and chatting with our audience today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you to all your listeners. Thank you for everybody in the chat. I really appreciate it. And the biggest thank you of all is to KEXP, because I was a massive fan even before this. I love all the London Grammar Show, and particularly the Charles Bradley Show. I'll just say Charles Bradley is one of my favorite artists, and I will forever be grateful that you have a recording on YouTube of that session. What a man. Rest in peace. Thank you.
Yeah, we were very lucky to do many sessions with him, and what an incredible individual and so talented. And he has such an incredible story, and we are excited to follow your story. You're so young and so much ahead of you, and we're going to be right there with you. Thank you so much, Dylan. And I thank our viewers with us here today. And Dylan has made an awesome freestyle rap for KEXP, and we're going to end with that today. Thank you so much. It's Dylan Cartlidge live on KEXP at home.
Yo, thank you very much, KEXP. It's been an absolute blast. I'm going to leave you with a freestyle if that's cool. I'm not sure how this is going to go. Let's give it a blast. As I say, I'm your boy Dylan Cartlidge, the cookie black guy that makes funk music. You can find me anywhere, Facebook, Twitter, all that jazz. Thank you very much again, Cheryl Waters, for having me, and everybody over at KEXP. Okay. I guess I'll try and not leave myself in tatters like KEXP, where the music matters, and he'll just do this and he'll do it with no stammer, like he's got this, like sessions from London Grammar over on the YouTube. He's got this new dude flowing like, why is it so hard? Like, rest in peace, Charles Bradley, that's my God, and I know I'll do this until I'm off the top. And even if you want to do it, if you even got this chill water, you'll bring this down. Thank you, Cheryl Waters, and Skylar Locatelli in there, because he's doing this right now, the brother with their hair. I'll be it like now, like I'm going out to battle. Mad love to everyone in Seattle. Let's hear your boy Dill. He's just kicking out them rhymes, and I'll do it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I'll go round the bend, and I'll just do it like this, cause I kick a little rap. I don't need to keep it stiff. I'll keep it loose and cool, like he ain't no fool. And I've got the bass and rap like I'm kicking out those cracks, like everybody be doing. I don't even low back. So thanks a lot for having me. I'll see you there. It's your boy Dylan Cartlidge. Take flipping care. Check.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.